me and Gene we've been talking about summer 2030. Me and Jeannie Butts have. We're gonna get Ann out to the Hollywood, shoot some more films, and put him in a Lakers jersey.
Sound about right. You better get on that Wemby train too, and make sure you have a role for a guy who could fit inside the frame. Might need to shift something.
If we figure it out with Kareem, we'll figure it out that way too. We already put another tall star out there. Kareem was in movies. We'll get Wemby in some movies too. Starting five, playoff edition. Let's get it. Here we go. We're finally in the Final Four. Now, this probably isn't a Final Four that I know we didn't expect that, and I know most of y'all watching this definitely didn't expect that. But we had a great, opening game from game one of both series. I wish we could have recorded a little bit earlier, so we do apologize for that. But we're still going to give y'all some good meat here. Jay, how are you feeling after the first set of game one?
I think this is exactly what the league was hoping for. I think obviously New York would have been the market they would have preferred, but man, Indiana gave Boston everything last night for 47 minutes. It looked like they're going to pull out the game, and then what the hell happened in that last minute, I do not know. But lucky win for the Celtics. Like you always say, those fans are on the edge of their seat. They are not coming to games feeling like they're in control. We've known Boston to give up a game. Unfortunately for Indiana, this is the one they were going to give up. I don't think they're going to give up another one. And this Dallas, the way this Dallas-Minnesota series started up, I think a lot of people just been sleeping on Dallas. I mean, Dallas put together as good of a team. People been saying all along, if Kyrie and Luka can match each other's intensity during the game, if they can rotate the player, if they can rotate them in, and Kyrie's in with the second unit, sometimes it seems like he's been more in with the first unit during the playoffs and not carrying the second unit. But they got the length and athleticism to match up with these T-Wolves. So I think both series, we might be in for a treat with a couple more game sevens. What do you think?
I think especially that, the Indiana one was really tricky because I thought game two they would come out to their head maker. I was shocked it was game one. Coming off of game seven, I'm like, okay, Boston's rested. They'll probably kick their ass. Game two, they'll go back to the drawing board. Rick Carlisle's a good coach, good at making adjustments. So they come out in game one. I'm like, oh, shit, this might be even better. And if they would have won that game, and I really wish they would have won it because that would have changed so much complexion. As we said, Boston gets tight. I just could have imagined TD Garden if game two and they were coming in down, how tight that stadium would have been because you felt it going down the stretch. And honestly, the Mavericks and T-Wolves, I expect that to go 7. So it's just what order was it going to happen? Was somebody going to go 2-0? Was it going to be 1-1? That's what I was split on, but I didn't want to touch that gamble because I said I'm just going to assume that's going 7. I had a hard time with that one. I guess, though, one thing especially what I did notice in both of these games, and I think it's going to be a big theme going forward, is the number 2 options. At the end of the day, we know you got Luka as number 1. We got Anthony Edwards as number 1. We got Tyrese Haliburton as number 1. We got
Tatum.
And we got Tatum as the number 1. So we got these clear-cut number 1s. I think we do got clear-cut number 2s. But how would you rank the number 2 options? So in this case, let's say number 2 options are Karl-Anthony Towns, Kyrie, Siakam, and Jaylen Brown. 1 to 4. What's your confidence? How would you rank it? 1 being your best, 4 being your least confident of your number 2s. You believe it?
This one's tricky because even by your wording, you can flip-flop it. So in terms of how confident am I, I'm going to put Kyrie as my 1 because I'm confident that Kyrie's not going to do anything to lose the game for you because of the amount of experience he has at this point in the playoffs. He's played in a lot of conference finals. He always played on championship teams. So Kyrie knows how to play at this level, and he knows how to not lose at this level, meaning he's not going to do too much. And he's in a position where he can't do it. Even though some games he does have double the amount of shots Luka has, it comes with the territory because Luka's de facto or Luka's on the bench because of foul troubles or injury issues. So I have Kyrie up there as more confident than any of these others. But in terms of the best right now, it's clear Jaylen Brown. It's your boy, right? It's clearly Brown. And because he's been the best Boston player this year in the playoffs over Tatum. You say Tatum has some numbers that kind of seem like he's outdoing his teammate, but Brown has been their glue. Like when they need a big shot, it's Brown. When they need him to defend the players who's kind of going off, it's Brown. When you need a key defensive play, it's Brown. So he's actually been the glue to me of this Boston team so far in the playoffs.
So you're going Kyrie 1, you're going Brown 2. Who do you got at 3 in the confidence meter? Are you taking Siakam or Cat?
Yeah, for now I'll have to take Cat just because Cat more consistent, that he can hit a big three, he can do what you need to do in today's NBA. When you need that, uh, when you just need a big shot, I can't rely on Siakam for a big shot. I think Siakam's a very versatile player. I think he's actually better. People don't give him enough credit defensively because of how long and lanky he is. But I put Siakam down there because that Toronto run for a championship was great, but we all know that was the Kawhi Leonard show, and everybody else was along for the ride. So he was a great player of the year that Kawhi left because he became the number one, and he really proved that he could be a one. So I got Siakam at the bottom.
Okay, so for me, and I guess see, we went different on this. We agreed at the beginning. I said Kyrie. Kyrie's hit one of the biggest shots in NBA history. So we know he's done on a big stage. He's been a number two. Kyrie's best position is when he plays the for sure number two. When they were in Brooklyn for those 2 weeks or whatever the hell they played together, it was like, okay, Durant's the one. It's hard to two. It's Kyrie the two. Couldn't figure out who the two was. But when Kyrie is the clear cut two, he's like the guy there. And honestly, it's kind of parallel because Luka's similar to LeBron, where he controls the pace. He has the ball in his hand, and sometimes needs a break, and then Kyrie can run it. So I think that's partly why this has worked for Kyrie so easy, because this is the closest player to LeBron, which where he got his best time at playing with Luka in this case. So I'm going him one. It's probably gonna surprise you, but I'm actually gonna take Siakam two, and partly because of so he did have that finals run. Kawhi, yes, he was the best player. Siakam was, depending on the night, the second or third best player, because Lowry was the second. But Siakam a lot of times was checking the second best player. There were times where Lowry does Lowry things and he would disappear, and then Siakam would show up. Then the next year, Siakam plays the two. So Siakam, the best role to me when we've seen his career has been when he was a two. When they made him the one after Lowry leaves, he wasn't good enough to be a one. He was a little too good to be the three, but he's like the perfect number two. Because I think he's the perfect Robin to Haliburton's Batman. So my two is him. My three is Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown, and it does get underrated though. And I give Jaylen Brown shit about not being able to dribble.
He's not for him.
Jaylen Brown was the best player when they went to the finals that year when they played against the Warriors. But part of what I had to get to three is because one of the stains in my for me with him that year was remembering that moment when Draymond got in his face, took his heart, and the entire Celtics heart died, and the Warriors go win the championship. And until I watched that tense, and the thing about Boston we haven't seen yet, we kind of saw it in game one, but it's when it gets tense and your back's really on the wall, and that's happened at Golden State, how they can react. Maybe Brown mature, but I need to see it before I can put my confidence meter higher in him. Ford, yeah, Cat might even be the most talented of these people. But I know Carl had a great game seven. I know it. I was sitting here and I was ready in that first half. The quarterfinal whistle that said, "Get Carl the fuck out of here." And that's just that's just fact. Because
he
Carl
stepped the hell up and defended Jokic too pretty well.
Hey, I give him credit. He stepped up. He defended. He did his typical stupid ass fouls. That's what Carl does. And that's partly why he has to be four. Because the thing is, the other three people, I expected to make it all four quarters. There's going to be a game or two where Carl's going to be on the bench and Nasri's going to enter, just like in game seven, because Carl's going to commit some stupid-ass fouls. And that's why I can't put Carl there. Or there's going to be a game where Carl just is like, I'm the best big man shooter. And we're like, Carl, you got the paint. Take it. And Carl's going to be shooting the three. So Carl has to be four for that reason for me.
Okay.
But I guess so. I think either way we're going to have a good NBA Finals because I do think, people don't give Indiana credit. They're a fun team. But if it was your choice, like you're commissioner, you can rig this shit up. Some people say NBA is rigged. Some people say it's not. We give you the choice to rig this shit up. How are you going about this? Who would you make or what matchup would you personally want to be the finals matchup?
Well, I kind of like opposing forces, so I'd like to see Indiana, the best offense in the league, go against Minnesota, the best defense in the league, and may the best team win. I kind of like those scenarios, right? It's kind of like you create the heavyweight scenario, and you say, okay, can the best defense win the championship, or is it, since we're in such an offensive-driven league, an offensive-minded league, is offense truly king? And it's intriguing because if Minnesota does end up being the team that wins, does that all of a sudden shift the way teams look to build now, where all of a sudden it's like, wait, can we win with two big men? Instead of getting Wemby a guard, should we get Wemby another big man right now and rush out there and get Trae Young that may end up being just like all the other small guards that may not make it through seasons because they can't play in a big NBA and they get hurt often? So I think the most intriguing factor for me, like I said, is Minnesota wins and maybe GM starts second guessing the way they're building their rosters all of a sudden. And now we have a huge shift in the league because you now have to catch up to the best. figure out how the hell are we going to play with this team who's so defensively that driven defensively, and their mindset is let's play great defense. But now you add Naz Reid, Conley, who hopefully lasts next season, with Cat, who's able to hit threes. Ant's going to work on his game over the summer. He's going to get better. So they also have that array to their game. So I would love to see that matchup between Minnesota and Indiana.
That's it. Okay, so it's kind of like, what was it, Seahawks Broncos, where that was that game where the Seahawks had a better defense, and then they just smacked the fuck out of Peyton Manning's number one Broncos offense. They immediately entered the game, and then I think it was a safety on the first, second play of the game, and then you're like, oh shit, defense does still matter. Yeah, I do agree. That is the interesting part for Denver, or I'm sorry, in Minnesota when they played Denver because of the way that defense went. And then also remember, Tim Connelly built them to beat them, but he's the one who helped build Denver. Then goes over there and says, well, how can I beat the team I just built? Oh, let's go put these two bigs. And all of us are like, I don't know, man. Go Baron Towns, man. What's up with the space? This is going to work. And he's like, no, trust me. We need to go chase Denver. I built them. I know how to go beat them. So do you start? Because what happens? You start to build these teams to go beat the champ. So if they're the champ, now you have to go build a team to go beat them. So that is interesting. There was, for me, okay, so first off, this wasn't my matchup, but I had the thought of Celtics versus Mavericks. And partly because I just remember how they did with Kyrie. This Boston people fucking hated Kyrie at the end. They still were booing him. Kyrie's putting out the sage and all that shit. So I'm like, man, that'd be kind of like bomb if Kyrie had to go back and play Boston. Like, I just could imagine that game one and Kyrie's out here and Boston just going crazy on us. I'm like, man, that would be fun to go see that. The other thing would be fun to me would be to see if you would have saw Luka and Kyrie going against that Celtics defense, because the Celtics have the big thing is they have the backcourt. We're supposed to be White and Holiday, but when you go out there and Luka's fucking 6'7", it's like, okay, usually Drew's a big ass guard. He ain't even playing Luka, so I thought that would be fun. But ultimately, I really settled on the Wolves and Celtics because it's kind of the same thing where you go out here, they got these two bigs. If you get Porzingis to watch him have to go against these two bigs, it'd be crazy. But then also, I would love to see Ant have to solve the puzzle of, okay, now Derek White's on me. Now Tatum's on me. Okay, fuck it. He killed him. All right, now put Brown on him. Okay, that's not working. And they would have to keep putting these puzzles. But on the other end, Jaden McDaniels, I think he would start giving some people some work where they're going to be like, oh, shit. Jaylen Brown can't dribble. He just picked his fucking pockets. Oh, shit. Jayson Tatum's out here selling for threes because McDaniels got in his grill. So I think that would be fun for that. And the other thing, too, we keep giving Ant these Michael Jordan comparisons. One of the funnest things Michael Jordan had to go put 63 up against the Celtics. That was the 86 Celtics. The 86 Celtics, for most basketball fans, a lot of Boston Celtics fans tell you that's the best Boston Celtics team in the history.
Might be the greatest playoff team ever. So
it's one of the best teams ever. You have 5 Hall of Famers on that team, and to go out there and have to go play them, so that'd be the Jordan art. Jordan had to go out there. He lost to them at the time, but Jordan had to go out there and play them 5 Hall of Famers, and he put 63 up, and it was a losing effort, but he did all he could versus them. So that would also put him on that Michael Jordan arc, which I think would be crazy because, you know, whether it's a popular opinion or not, Jayson Tatum's probably going to Hall of Fame because he's going to have enough All-NBAs. Drew's probably going to Hall of Fame because he's going to have a couple All-NBAs, all defense. He's probably going to have a gold or silver medal, you'll assume, after the Olympics this year. I think, wasn't he on the last Olympics team? I think. He'll have 2 gold medals. Jaylen Brown, they go out there win a championship or 2. He keeps getting a couple. He may go to Hall of Fame. You may have 2 or 3 Hall of Famers on this Boston team when it's all said and done. Horford is actually on the team too. He's probably
might be. Yeah.
Well, no, Horford's going to Hall of Fame because Horford, remember, it's the NBA Hall of Fame. You got to factor in the 2 college championships. So he's probably going to the Hall of Fame. So you got multiple people there. So I would love to see Ant go against them for that reason. The interesting thing, though, I did see this week, and I want to bring our producer John in for a quick second because he was the one who actually pointed this out to me, was there's starting to be rumblings because if you do get the Wolves versus Celtics, you get the KG matchup of KG was, for most people, the best Wolves player all time, and may or may not be the best Wolves player going forward, and he goes against KG's team where he finally gets a championship out there in Boston. Well, John, if you're there, I kind of want if he was able to get to the finals, does that, in your opinion, make Ant the best now Timberwolf of all time over KG?
Well, I was in the realm of no for Brunson being the best with Melo, and that's 1,000% biased because let's go fucking orange. But realistically, I don't think it has anything really to do with the championships. I think it has more or less to do about what he meant to the city, and KG meant so much to the city. I don't think you can put him in that, even if he goes to the finals, if they win the finals. KG meant so much to Minnesota and made such an impact immediately. And I think Ant did too, but I don't think you can put him in that category just yet of best Timberwolves. He goes 20 years, wins 3 championships for Timberwolves, then yes, he surpasses. But just getting there, I don't see it as, and I said the same thing about Melo, that, even Brunson getting to the conference finals, yeah, it kind of puts him in a good category. Yeah. But Melo ultimately gave New York such a surge, such a hunger. Brunson didn't give them that hunger. They were like mad when they got Brunson for some fans. So I'd have to say no for right now.
Jay, what about you?
Yeah, I'm there too, man, because KG was a childhood hero for me with the passion he played. He played the game at a different energy level, and he carried that team and that city on his back. Yeah, we could say Stephon Marbury was a great piece for him. Wally Zerbiak may have been able to, good spot up shooter, but everybody knew that the ball's going to KG, right? Yeah. And we haven't seen that with Ant yet. Like, Ant wants the ball, but Ant is still very much kind of modeling his game after LeBron slightly, where he wants to get players involved, and we see that. There are times where he's super aggressive and he's going to take the game over, but they have other times where he's more interested in getting players involved. KG was not that way. KG was like, dump the ball down inside. Let me just take advantage of whoever my matchup is. And having that larger-than-life presence as well, Ant's dunks are spectacular, right? And we see this, like, pizzazz to him, but KG's dunks were raucous, and it was just rim rocking. And he just had this energy to him when he dunked it that he would let out that scream and the whole arena would be behind him. I mean, his presence was just so incredible that I just recall watching some of those games and being like, damn, I want to go to a freaking Timberwolves game and be in the arena right now, because that place was rocking in his days. We're seeing it now, but I don't think Ant's captured the imagination of the city. He's captured the imagination of basketball fans. He's getting there in Minnesota. He's getting there. They have to do this for 2 or 3 years in a row.
I mean, for me, Ant's my guy. That's, like my future young GOAT. So, of course, I ride with Ant, but I said this a few weeks ago. Kevin Garnett, there's no reason he doesn't have a fucking statue outside of Minnesota. They should be ashamed of himself that man does not have a statue outside. Even if Ant was to win a championship this year, we still got to pump the brakes on the greatest of that particular team, because KG had the MVP. KG literally saved that franchise from getting moved. And there's a certain point where you do have to look at some longevity, especially when you got somebody like KG who played there. You get more than 10 years and you own every franchise record and points, rebounds, and pretty much literally every franchise record. And I think when it's all said and done, he will be the greatest Timberwolves of all time. But one playoff run, you doing that is a flagrant, like, forgetting how good KG was, what he meant to that team. And I think especially for some of the young people, they didn't really see KG like that. They watch him on, with Paul Pierce and them, they on Showtime, but they don't understand they're watching Anything's Possible. They don't understand what that meant to Minnesota.
Yeah, but I tell you what, that's an interesting point you brought up there, is that I think we're assuming that Ant might stay in Minnesota.
Correct. I was just about to say that. With this new NBA, it's 2-year contracts.
If the right offer comes a knock-in, and by that time in his career, maybe he's more the number 2 the team needs, because there's some incredible superstar that needs support, and they could be a Batman Robin, and he ends up actually being the support, but brings the energy the team needs to go over the hump, and everybody knows for him.
Me and Jeannie been talking about. We've been talking about summer 2030. Me and Jeannie Butts have. We're gonna get Ant out to the Hollywood, shoot some more films, and put him in a Lakers jersey.
Sound about right. You better go on that Wemby train too, and make sure you have a role for a guy who could fit inside the frame. Might need to shift something.
If we figure it out with Kareem, we'll figure it out that way too. We already put another tall star out there. Kareem was in movies. We'll get Wemby in some movies too. So we'll figure this out. Ant and Wemby, Lakers 2030. We're calling it now.
All right, fellas.
Join us. Stop by, John.
See you later.
Okay, so since we're here, and I'm just basically giving you a bold-ass prediction, I got a bold prediction for this, and I'll get yours in a second. Conference championship, bold prediction. This isn't bold. I think Timberwolves is going to go 7 with the Mavericks. But I do think it's going to happen in that series, though. There's going to be a particular game. Don't know which game. Anthony Edwards and Luka are going to duel. They're both going to score 50 points in the same night on a game. It's not like this happens all the time. So that's some rare shit. There's also going to be 2 50-point games by each one, not in the same night. Each of them are going to have 2 50-point games in the series, and one night they are both going to do it over 50. It's going to be one of these nights where it's going to be like, I can't believe we just saw this. This is one of the greatest one-on-one duels where you're going to be like, Luka scores, Ant scores, Luka scores, Ant scores. And that's a hard thing to do, to ask for two guys on the opposing team to put up 100 points, especially as the defense gets tighter. But the way I watched that game one, there's going to be 2 50-point on the same night from them two.
I kind of saw it. I don't know. I see it different because I feel like both teams can throw so many athletic players at both players that you're not hoping that you have one guy that can keep either one in check all night long. I think we saw tonight, and it really bothered Ant because going into the fourth, he only had 13 points. They threw 3 or 4 different players at him throughout the night, right? So one time you got Derek Jones on him. Another time they actually brought in who's the rookie backup center again? I almost forget his name. Lively. They got Lively on him.
Yeah, Lively.
Right? Yep. Yeah. Then at other times, Luka's checking on him, coming off of a screen where Luka's staying with the not going down in the screen but rolling up, and now he has Ant on top of the key. So I feel like, and they're doing the same with Luka. They threw Ant in it sometimes. They threw Nas at him sometimes. They brought what's his name off the bench, Kyle Anderson. So I think both teams are going to keep doing that, and I feel like it's hard to get into a flow when you can't really predict what your defender's doing because they keep throwing a different defender their way. I do see 2 40-point games in the same night for them.
Okay,
but not 50. I see 40, but I don't think they get over the
50's asking a tall
50. Especially with both teams actually playing really good defense. So I think that's a lot for both players.
A lot. I just got this feeling it's going to be a particular night where they're both just going to get hot on the same time. It's going to be like, I had a hand in this face. There's nothing I could do about this shit.
I see that on the opposite side. I could definitely see Tatum dropping 50 in game 2. I could see that happening. And Celtics winning by like 18.
I think Celtics will kick their ass in game 2. Because I just think that was a devastating loss. I think the Pacers will come back better in game 3, but I think game 2 is going to be.
Well, they haven't lost at home yet, so we'll see if they even lose a home game against the Celtics.
Crazy. Boston plays better on the road, so I know that's going to be.
They do.
Boston plays worth of shit at home and better on the. Yep. And Pacers have some of the class. Indiana It's going to be crazy. You got a bold prediction for us though? Anything we need to lock in here?
Yeah, Mavs in 6.
Mavs in 6. That's what we're going with. So we're not getting 7.
Nope, Mavs in 6.
Out at home. Mark Cuban
I won game 7s, but I see Mavs in 6 and Celtics in 6.
Okay, so we're not. But so since we're here, if we were to, let's say hypothetically, have a game 7, let's just say it played out that way. Which team would you be more confident on as a road team on the game 7 to go there? Would you be more confident the Indiana can walk into Boston, or the Mavericks could walk into Minnesota and win a game 7?
Dallas.
I was thinking Dallas too. At the end of the day, and the thing is, they both just did it, so it's not like these teams can't do it, which will makes that an interesting thing because they both have walked into hostile territory. And I mean, Denver, the whole altitude thing, their crowd was crazy. Then you go up to fucking Madison Square Garden, which was, I mean, like seeing a place like that since the '90s, and for them to go in there and fucking break a record.
But it didn't have the same buzz because they knew that their team was just holding on by a thread. Right? I feel like even in the Garden, they knew that, like, we need a miracle. Yeah.
When that Brunson update came out, it just, everybody just, I saw Stephen A. Smith, tweet, well, it was a great season. I'm reporting Brunson's hand is broken. I was like, shit, fuck. But the Mavericks, at the end of the day, we've seen Luka do this in 7. I remember him going and playing the Clippers and busting their ass. We've seen Kyrie do it in the game 7. So if it came down to it, I would trust the Mavericks more. And when it gets tight, that's what I always like about this Mavericks team. If it gets tight, you got 2 guys who are top-tier ball handlers who can create for other people and create their own shot. So if it gets to a point and Luka's like, I just ain't got that. Kyrie can be like, get out the way. Indiana, I know I just picked Siakam a little bit higher in there, but I don't know if Siakam is going to go out here and wave people to fuck off if Tyrese just ain't got it on that night in the game.
Nor is Miles Turner going to be the bruiser that they would hope he would be if it comes to that without Porzingis. All right, assuming.
Yeah, especially assuming if it was a game 7, Porzingis is probably back by then, which would change the entire thing of the series. Miles Turner gave work, but it's a lot easier to go out there and do that shit when you got Luke Cornett out there than it is with Porzingis down there down low. But since we're here, I mean, it was a great season. They started to finally announce. I mean, we got all the MVPs out of the way. One of my favorite parts, we usually know who's going to be the MVP. We know it's going to be all the defensive player. But I like watching like the all defensive team, the all rookie team, the all all NBA teams. Of what we've seen now that we have all these announcements, is there any like somebody you really want to shout out for making an all defense, all rookie, all NBA, or like something that was glaring, like what the fuck were y'all thinking? What's going on? Why did y'all do this move?
I I don't think Booker and Durant should have been on the All NBA teams. I think
Oh, I agree with that.
it
I can agree
it's
with
one or the other, but not both. With the way they played this year, I mean, they were so underwhelming. They were the worst fourth quarter team, and some people could say it's because Beal couldn't find a way to play it both players, but Beal didn't shoot the ball that much, so you can't say that Beal was shooting them out of games. So I don't think you can say that Beal is the reason why. It was to me, it's like, what, like, really, like, what, both of them made it. There's just too many good players out there this year that deserve to be on that team, and I just don't understand why. I mean, Booker was out for a significant period of time, and it's like, why are you going to put Book on there just because you want as many USA Olympians on that team? Don't question Steph. Don't question Tyrese. No question for LeBron and DeMont. I actually think DeMonte should have been second team, not first team over Kawhi Leonard. I think that was absolute bullshit. DeMonte should be in there instead of Kawhi Leonard on the second team. So I feel like take
flip flop
Kawhi, yeah, flip flop Kawhi and Sabonis. Sabonis on second team. I don't even put Kawhi on the third team. Like, I would take Kawhi and I would take Booker off of third team. And man, it's tough to say who really belongs after looking at the playoffs. It's really hard to say
because of the game situation that games play. Because somebody like Mitchell or somebody probably is on there, but he didn't play enough games. You got some of that messed it up too with the 65 game threshold.
Yeah.
That took a few people out.
Same thing with Embiid, right? So that's probably why
Embiid too, right? Yeah,
Kawhi made it on there. Yep.
But honestly, I mean, I know you said Sabonis. See, for me, I thought LeBron should have been over Kawhi at second team because I looked at LeBron had more games, had more points, more rebounds, more assists, and fuck it, LeBron's still a better player than Kawhi. I don't care what anybody fucking say. He's still a better player than Kawhi right now. And part of this is availability. Part of this is because, I mean, hey, when he gets to the playoffs like usually, he's not there. But even if it's not just a regular season award, LeBron should have been over him. I would be okay with Sabonis being over him. Kawhi, because the injuries could have been third team, but that was the first team I was like, when I first saw the announcement, that was the one that like circled to me really quickly on like that. I guess the one thing what I found interesting, you know how they do like now it's like positionless now with doing like the All NBA. So the All Defensive team specifically, I wanted to pay attention to. If you look at the first team All Defense, they have 4 bigs and a wing. So it's AD, Wemby, Gobert, Bam Adebayo, and then Herb Jones is a wing. So like all the big guys, and you know they usually say Defensive Player of the Year is a big man award, and that just reminds you how much the defensive player, the big men always get more favorable for that. Because the second team was 4 guards and a wing. So it was Caruso, Suggs, White, Holiday, and Jay McDaniel was a wing. So he basically said all the big men we value, put all of them in the first team. We put all our dominant backcourt, put them all on the second team. I was like, okay, this backs up that theory. When they were like Marcus Smart last year, it's amazing for a guard to win. It's like, the bigs are going to win. That's why Wemby's going to get 3
or 4 or 5. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe 4 or 5 defense. I mean, if Rudy could do it, 3 or 4 times, then Wemby, if healthy, he's going to get 3 or 4 of these, you know.
So biggest snub to not make an All NBA team: Jaylen Brown or Paolo Banchero?
That is tough. I would say, I know it always feels like I'm hating on Brown, but the only reason I'm saying Ben Carroll is because at the end of the day, he had to carry that team. Jaylen Brown, the thing with the Celtics is not that Jaylen didn't play, but they could kind of manage where they go, all right, Jaylen, you sit a night, Jayson Tatum got it, all right, we'll put Porzingis in. Like, if Ben Carroll misses a night, Orlando's just fucked. Like, the Celtics, they can't win a championship without Jaylen Brown, but they can become a playoff team without that. If Ben Carroll doesn't play, the Mavericks are probably in the fucking lottery.
Yep.
So it's simple as that. It's not even a knock to Jaylen. You know,
no, you're right. Boston still wins 52 games, or at least maybe even more without Brown. Who knows? At least 50. The Magic ain't winning. The Magic ain't winning 25 games without Paolo. Not even close.
No, the whole thing ran, and I'm glad, honestly, for his sake. I know a lot of us on NBA TV, unfortunately, but I'm glad some of the country got to see him more because Orlando doesn't come on TV. So I was watching and talking to people. They're like, "Damn, is that dude that good?" Because they maybe didn't see him in college. And then I watch Orlando games. People are like, "Man, that dude good." I'm like, "He's doing that shit."
He's the most deceptive guy in terms of how fucking big he is. He's a big man. He's a wide, tall, strong, big guy, man.
And he can move. With that size, that dude can move. and he's a nightmare like matchup box for anybody. Think about it too. Gonna get better defensively as time goes.
Yep.
So he's gonna be a force to reckon with. And we'll do more shows, especially once we start to get into like free agency and what people can do. That's gonna be a big one. Y'all hear us talk a lot about with the Magic. You got any more final thoughts going into the rest of this conference finals?
Yeah, the one thing we're not making the dots on, you and I spoke about it with, is that connecting that dot between Rick Carlisle possibly going against his old boss Mark Cuban and saying, hey, I remember I helped you guys win a ring. Now I'm going to try and make sure you don't win your second ring, and let's see if I can take these young cats and help Indiana win their first ring ever. So I think that's probably the most interesting storyline, is can Rick Carlisle go against the team that he got their first championship for and take Indiana to their first ever championship. That to me is going to be a very interesting thing to observe here as the playoffs go on.
That's true. I didn't even think of the Carlisle point, because Carlisle was there. Because Dallas had a lot of good years, and then Carlisle gets in, changes just enough stuff, and was one of the biggest differences in finally getting over. I mean, that mental block for Dirt, just getting those veterans on lock. I mean, I said it the other week, Carlisle on my coach confidence meter is the highest one of everybody left, just because he's done this shit before, and we know what he does. I mean,
he's top three, bro. He's top 3 in the league, and jump low. He's top 3 in the league.
In Detroit, we've seen it in Indiana the first time. We've seen it in Dallas and in Indiana this time. I mean, everywhere he goes, the team is successful. They become a better team when he shows up. So that.
In fact, other than Spoelstra, can you name a better coach right now that's active? We'll keep Pop out of it, right? Because Pop's way past his prime. So we'll keep Pop
if we were great this year, it wouldn't be Pop. It would be Pop technically, because Pop is top 3 all the time. But I guess probably I would say Carlisle's probably 2 then. If you take because I'm kind of thinking. I mean, Spoelstra's definitely 1. Yeah, because he's done it the longest. I mean, I like Dagno and some of these guys, but they ain't done it this long with multiple teams. I think Lou gets a bad deal at the time, but still he's not in that category. So, I would say, Carlisle's probably after him, Spo, and Pop are probably the top 3 coaches right now in the game when you add in their entire portfolio, not just going off of a year. But, going forward, we still got a lot more basketball. Definitely tune in. Y'all see us on our regular Cinco Squad show. Y'all definitely get a finals edition. You may mess around. Stay tuned. You never know. We may mess around, drop another one of these. If we get the game 6 or 7, y'all might see our asses back around again. But
that's
we'll definitely be back for the finals. We'll be back around draft time. Cinco Squad will be doing a live draft show. You'll see us on the regular show. Make sure y'all tune in Thursdays for that. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, comment. We like the comments. We like to see what y'all think. We don't mind. We go back and forth. We stand on business. We stand what we're saying. So let us know.
Hey, and let us know if you guys agree with Trey here. Is Luka and Ant, are they both going to have a half century? That would be a game for the ages. It may possibly be the game of this entire playoffs if it does happen.
Yeah, and if you think we're full of shit and you're like, man, who the fuck are these guys? They don't hoop. They just sit on the couch. Shit,
bring it.
Bring it. We're ready.
I've already been called.
Send us a picture. You sit on the couch too, just so we're on the same level here.
What was it again? What was that? A poor man's Aaron Rodgers. What was it? Do you remember? A long time ago.
Well, you've been a poor man Aaron Rodgers. You've been Caribbean Jesus.
Aquaman. What's yours? You got your patent on me now, right?
It was what was it? The Queens guy. I can't think of his name. Somebody just put in there. Queens. Yeah, I can't remember the guy's name.
A regular dude from the Bronx or something.
Yeah, it was like some dude. He's like popular.
Some random dude from the Bronx. You and I don't know how I have a Bronx
accent. Don't forget Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns. That's the one we forget.
You got Roman Reigns.
You don't remember? Was it the Arab Aaron Rodgers? Is that what it was?
Yeah. Football season. Yeah, you got Aaron Rodgers. Football season for sure. You got one. Yeah, you got that one. So I mean, shit. Tell us who he looked like. Make sure y'all don't make it too bad, But appreciate y'all tuning in. Stay tuned. Cinco Squad out.
Enjoy it, guys. You only have 2 series left.